there, today I will be sharing 5 new casseroles with you that are so perfect for the spring and the summer. These casseroles taste like $1,000,000. They're just so good, but they are very affordable to make and they're easy to make too, which is nice. Also, my voice sounds different just because I'm getting over a cold. I apologize about that, but let's get to my kitchen and let's get to cooking. To kick us off today, we are starting out by making this stuffed pepper casserole over to my cutting board. I'm going to begin by dicing up a yellow onion, a red bell pepper, and a green bell pepper over to the pan on my stove. I'm adding a pound of ground beef. I'm also adding in the peppers and onion. Go ahead and break that ground beef up and cook it through. Once it's cooked through, just remove any excess grease from the pan. Over to my 9x13 baking dish, I'm spraying it with nonstick spray. Then add that ground beef mixture right in there. Next, I'm adding in a cup of uncooked white rice. Then you're going to add in a tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce, along with a 14-ounce can of petite diced tomatoes, or you could use regular diced tomatoes. Then add in a cup and a half of beef broth, along with 3/4 cup of water, then a teaspoon of salt, pepper, paprika, and Italian seasoning. The last thing you're going to add in is a half a cup of shredded Colby Jack cheese. This casserole is so easy to make. Give this a stir and then cover this tightly with foil. Bake this in a preheated oven to 350 degrees for about 40 minutes. After 40 minutes, just remove it from the oven, take the foil off, give it a stir, and then sprinkle about a cup more shredded Colby Jack cheese on top. Bake this for an additional 15 minutes or until the rice is tender. Here's what my plate of food looks like. This casserole is so delicious. It really comes together in no time at all. Also, it freezes well. So if you want to make 2 of these and like freeze one, you could do that too. It will work out. But I had seconds of this just because it was so good. My family really enjoyed it. Now we are making this Pesto Orzo casserole, and this one is a meatless meal for all of my meatless meal friends. I'm starting out by cutting up a yellow squash, a zucchini, and I'm dicing a yellow onion into smaller pieces. I have a greased 9x13 baking dish right here. I'm adding all of those vegetables right in. Next, add in 2 tablespoons of olive oil, along with your seasonings. This is a lot of seasonings, but this casserole is really flavorful. So a teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of pepper, then a teaspoon of dried oregano, a teaspoon of onion powder, garlic powder, paprika, and Italian seasoning. Give this a stir to coat the vegetables in the oil and the seasonings. Bake this in a preheated oven to 400 degrees for about 15 minutes. After the 15 minutes is up, just remove this from the oven. Next, you're going to add in the remaining ingredients. So toss in a tablespoon of minced garlic, along with a 15-ounce can of drained corn, then 16 ounces of orzo pasta. I'm excited that Walmart has like its own great value orzo now. They didn't used to at my stores, and this one is quite a bit cheaper than like the other name brands. But now I'm adding in 8 ounces of basil pesto, then add in 3 cups of water, or you could use veggie broth if you would like. Give this a stir and then cover this tightly with foil. Bake this in a preheated oven now to 350 degrees for about 35 minutes. After that cooking time is up, remove this from the oven, remove the foil, and then give this a stir. If you're a cheese fan, sprinkle on 3/4 cup of mozzarella cheese, then bake this for an additional 10 minutes or until the orzo is tender and the cheese is melty. If you're a pesto fan like me, you are absolutely going to love this one. This one is also great for like meal prepping it if you want to meal prep it for the week. And if you don't want to make this a meatless meal, you could of course add chicken into this and it will be good, but we absolutely loved this one. It was so delicious. Now we are making this chicken bacon ranch tater tot casserole. This is comfort food to the max for me. To the pan on my stove, I'm adding 7 pieces of bacon in, or you could use a half a cup of pre-cooked crumbled bacon that you get from the store, whatever you'd like. Then I'm going to add in 1/4 cup of water to help the bacon cook evenly and get crispy. I'll let the bacon cook through at this point. Now that it is to the crispiness that I like it to be, I'll remove it to this plate and I'm going to set it to the side. Into this large bowl, I'm adding 1 cup of sour cream, or you could use Greek yogurt if you would like. Next, add in a half a cup of milk along with a can of cream of chicken soup, or you could use the homemade version of cream of chicken soup in the back of my cookbook. Now I'm adding in a teaspoon of pepper with 2 tablespoons of ranch seasoning mix. Just give this a really good whisk until everything is silky and well combined. Add in a half a cup of shredded Colby Jack cheese and 3 cups of cooked shredded chicken at this point. You could cook up your chicken however you choose to do so. Give this a stir to get everything coated, and then you are going to set this to the side. I pulled out my 9x13 baking dish and I'm spraying it with a nonstick spray. Add half of this 30-ounce bag of tater tots to the bottom of your baking dish. Now add that chicken mixture right over those tater tots. Just do it carefully. And then over the chicken mixture, you are going to add all of your cooked crumbled bacon. Just sprinkle it over the top. Then over the bacon, add the remaining tater tots. And then over the tater tots, add a third a cup of shredded Colby Jack cheese. Bake this in a preheated oven to 350 degrees for about 45 minutes. Here's my plate of food. This is total comfort food to the max for me, like I said before. This is really delicious. My little ones just gobbled this up. It really was that good. Also, you could add ingredients to this or subtract ingredients. If you're not a bacon fan, you don't have to use the bacon, of course, but this was really good. Now we're making this taco Dorito casserole. So to the pan on my stove, I'm adding a pound of ground beef, or you could use ground chicken, any meat substitute, or a ground turkey. I'm also adding in a yellow onion that I diced. Break this ground beef up and cook it through. Once it's cooked through, if you have a lot of excess grease in your pan, just remove the grease. Then add in about 2 tablespoons of taco seasoning. Next, add in a fourth a cup of water, along with a can of Rotel. It's just diced tomatoes with green chilies. It adds a lot of flavor. Now I'm adding in 1 cup of sour cream, then add in 16 ounces of refried beans. After you add the refried beans in, just give this a really good stir and stir everything to combine. Once it looks like this, pull out a baking dish and spray it with a nonstick spray. To the bottom of the baking dish, add a half a cup of crushed Dorito chips. Spread those chips out so they're kind of like in an even layer. Now over the chips, add a third a cup of shredded Colby Jack cheese. Over the cheese, add the taco ground beef mixture. Spread it out carefully just so you don't mix the layers up. And then over that taco mixture, you're going to add a half a cup more crushed Dorito chips. Then add a third a cup of shredded Colby Jack cheese on the very top. Bake this in a preheated oven to 350 degrees for about 30 minutes. Once out of the oven, just top it with your favorite taco toppings. I topped mine with some sliced avocado, salsa, and lime, but top yours with anything that you like. This is so flavorful and rich. This casserole is almost like a treat. It really is super duper delicious. Now we are making this lower carb sausage casserole, so over to the pan on my stove, I'm adding in about a pound of mild Italian sausage links. My favorite are the sweet Italian sausage links, but my store didn't have them, so just add in a pound of whatever type of Italian sausage you can find at your store. After you add all of your sausage in, go ahead and add in 1 red diced bell pepper. If you don't care for bell pepper, you don't have to add it in, of course, but just break the sausage up and cook it through at this point. Once you have your sausage cooked through, remove any excess grease from the pan. My mom taught me this trick years ago. Just take a paper towel and wiggle it around in your pan until the grease is gone. It works super well, and it's my favorite way to absorb any excess grease. But after you do that, add in 5 ounces of softened cream cheese. Just stir that cream cheese in until it is incorporated well. Now over to a large bowl, add this sausage mixture right in there. After you add in about 20 ounces of riced cauliflower. Then add in your Italian seasoning. I do want to let you know my riced cauliflower was frozen when I added it in. Then add in a half a cup of shredded cheddar cheese and give this a really good stir. This recipe is on page 59 in my cookbook. You'll find it in the casserole section. I have 8 different sections in my cookbook and over 100 of my family's favorite yummiest recipes. I have some cookbooks available right now if you don't have one yet, but just bring this casserole over to a greased 9x13 baking dish after you give it a good stir and spread it out. Then sprinkle 1 cup of shredded cheddar cheese over the top. Cover this tightly with foil and bake it in a preheated oven to 375 degrees for about 25 minutes. After the baking time is up, remove the foil and bake it for an additional 12 minutes just to kind of get it crispy on top and finish baking, and then you could serve this up. We served our dinner with steamed peas on the side. My little ones can't tell the difference between cauliflower rice and regular rice. This dinner is really delicious if you're looking for a lower carb option. This one is definitely for you. I've made it over and over again, and we just really enjoy it in my house. I hope you found something for yourself today, and make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss the next one. Bye for now.